Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of TSC Talks. My name is Jill Woodworth, and I am here again with Mary Ellen Lacy, my daughter.
Hello.
And we are going to continue our conversation. We had ended talking about when she was in high school and one of the aides that worked with her, Mrs. Achu.
Me too.
And so, a lot has happened since high school, so I thought we'd continue this chat for anyone out there that either has children with tuberous sclerosis or young adults with tuberous sclerosis, or anyone knowing someone, or anyone that just wants to listen to us talk about this stuff. Feel free, and you can email me. I will provide that link on my Spreaker podcast webpage. So, Mary Ellen, we were talking about Mrs. Achu, and that was your senior year.
Yep.
So, after her senior year, we decided that she would try a collaborative school to work on her social skills. I think she mentioned that in the last podcast. And we had to go through the school district and, go to mediation in order to get the district to pay for a year at a program called Bi-County Collaborative. And BICO. It was originally in it was in Franklin. Franklin was about an hour from here, but they moved the school to Walpole.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask Marielle, what was BICO like? Without going into all the negatives right away, why don't you just tell me what it was like there, what you did?
In the summer, it was I liked the fall better because I made a really good friend, Tammy, that I keep up with. But that's beside the point. Well,
you started in the fall after your senior year, right?
I started in the summer after senior year.
You can talk about that.
And then I want to get into the fall, because there were some good things in the fall. In the summer when we were in, I thought we were in Rentham.
Yeah, I think you might have been in Rentham.
Yeah, I was in Rentham.
Okay.
So in Rentham, when we had BICO, I was still kind of obsessed with French. And when we'd go outside, there was this track to walk on. And I would always go to Mr. Etienne, which is a Canadian who speaks French, fluently.
Yeah.
In Canadian dialect. And I would always, because that was the obsession then.
And that kind of helped you through a lot?
Yeah. And then,
Didn't your teacher, she had conflicts with her teacher.
Miss Alger.
We don't need to really mention
Sorry.
names. Mrs. Somebody that, what did she say about French that really upset you, the first day?
Something, I'll try to remember.
Okay. Well, anyways, I think what we learned from this BICO experience...
Something like everything's not about French or something like that.
Yeah. Mary Ellen's obsessions are very important to her, and when people try to diminish them or ask her why she doesn't focus on one of the more productive obsessions, it kind of threatens the way she is. This is the way she's always been, and we've just kind of picked up on that. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if any other autistic people out there or people that are on the autism spectrum are aware of that, but sometimes...
I thought with my IQ...
Well, I think you did, but there's lots of people with high IQs that are still on the autism spectrum.
I know.
It just means that you have some qualities of it, but your more overriding diagnosis is tuberous sclerosis. So she's actually come a long way in diminishing a lot of her autistic, or at least learning to manage them, so they're not showing up as much on neuropsych testing. So I guess what happened, Mary Ellen was told recently in a session that why didn't she go back to Spanish, and she didn't know how to respond, and she took it to heart, and we processed it later in the day, and what she told me was she can't help it that she doesn't want to go back to that because that's part of her tuberous sclerosis complex autism. So we are trying to work within the parameters of progress and also honoring what these obsessions mean to you. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then you can talk a little bit more about BICO if you'd like, and what were the issues. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm fast forwarding to the fall because the summer wasn't
fall of 2014.
2014, yeah.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
And in the fall, I made a new friend who was new to Bico, Tammy. Her name is Tamara Cooper, but she's Tamara, but she lets her friends call her Tammy. She was like she's still one of my best friends, and we had a lot of good time together, and luckily Miss Alger made us do a current events assignment, and I found the one on Charlie Baker. He was running for governor at the time, and now he is the governor. And that's how I got into politics, and when I registered to vote, I realized I could complain after I voted.
So that was Mary Ellen's foray into right-wing politics, and she's still pretty much there. Though she's also been drawing a lot as one of her tangential obsessions. Cartooning. Yeah, she does some really cute political cartoons.
I drew one of George W. pushing Obama and Jeb off a cliff.
Yeah, see, Mary Ellen and I don't really see eye to eye on politics, but what have you learned about, through therapy, about how to handle people that don't agree?
It's like you... I'm stuttering, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm trying to think of how to word this.
Isn't it like you can still love the person, but you don't have to agree with them?
Well, just
respect.
The Serenity Prayer. Yeah, you must respect. But the Serenity Prayer, like from your meetings,
from AA,
yeah, really helped with that.
Yeah. So
well, at first,
God grant me the strength
to accept the things I cannot change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Courage to change, exactly. So that helped her, and I think. She's also, even though I don't like some of the podcasts she listens to, she has learned from just listening to other people and watching them, because it's not something that comes naturally to her, how to understand and put herself in someone else's shoes and get perspective. But she is getting that, and it's amazing. So right now, Mary Ellen got approved for the Department of Developmental Services, which is a Massachusetts program that helps people that have disabilities. And so anyway, so she's waiting to get a case manager, and then we're going to look into a program locally called Seven Hills.
I want to go into the radio thing.
They have a radio broadcasting program.
Eventually, I want to go on RKO, my station.
This is good practice.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe you can have your own show sometime.
Yeah, I know, WRKO with Cooner and them.
Yeah, that's who she likes. So anyway,
I like Rush Limbaugh too. And Mark Levin.
Right, and that's, it's been hard for me because I really don't agree with a lot of those ideas, but we just agree not to talk about it.
Yeah, we don't discuss policy. At least when we discuss policy, we don't get deep. We stay out in the shallow water. Like the What I Am song by Eddie Brickell.
Yeah, we stay in the shallow water.
Before I get too deep.
Yeah, Mary Ellen can sing, but I can't.
That's because of the famous obsession.
Right. See, she took that with her, that little piece. But there was something else I was going to say about... I think also what I've learned through being in therapy with Mary Ellen is how to actively ignore some of the behaviors that are less...
productive.
No, like, for instance, if you're talking and singing to yourself with your headphones on...
that calms me down.
Something that calms her down... then sometimes it can be annoying, and I have learned to really actively ignore that, as well as her siblings are working on it.
I tune things out. Once you can tune out the Dear Leader, you can tune out anything.
Okay. Well, I think sometimes, for me, I'm always, surprised and educated when I learn how much something helps her that, even though it's annoying, it's not really contributing to any harm. And so I guess my hope for Mary Ellen is to go into this program and be able to eventually move out and get her own job.
That's my dream, too, to eventually someday move to Texas and move to a red state and be able to be free and happy and feel like I'm with my... I love you guys, but I like I'm with my political camp.
But Mary Ellen, what have you thought about what would happen if your obsession changed?
Well,
and you're in the middle of Texas.
Well, I'd still love it. I would still be a Republican. I've been thinking this way since I started voting in November of 2014. So, because remember how I used to hate myself?
Yep.
That I used to think more like you, but in a different way. Like I used to be a little further left than I am now. Mm-hmm. And my former bus driver, Bill Ledger, He was one of my favorite bus drivers in the world, and he taught me a lot of what I know today. And I'm proud to be a Republican and an American.
Right. So that is awesome. And I think that's. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Can you think of anything?
I'll try to think of something. You can continue for.
Okay. Well, anyway, so Mary Ellen was driven to Bico in a bus, and it ended up being an hour and a half away.
It was awesome with Bill, though.
But she liked her bus driver, so she hung in there for about half the year, and we tried community college, and that was really frustrating. The thing with sending kids with a significant disability to college is they don't have an IEP plan. And so we went and met with the disabilities coordinator, and she was very clear in telling me that Mary Ellen had to advocate for herself.
I tried.
And she did try, and she had a tutor for part of the year.
Oh, yeah, Ed, he was up. He and I would joke about Shaheen and Baker playing paddleboat or something.
And, I think that she's really capable of the work, but I just think it wasn't her time. Because, she just was too focused on other things at that point in her life. And there was some other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Not sure what it was right now, but
I think I know what else I want to talk about before we end.
Okay. Go ahead.
Like a nutshell autobiography of the way I used to think versus now. It's going to be maybe 5 minutes at the most.
Okay.
So, when I was little, ever since I was 9, I used to think that I don't think like this anymore because I changed since then. When I was not from when I was 9 to when I was, in the middle of 18, I thought I was bad, everything was my fault. And it got so bad that, I just felt this horrible feeling deep down inside that I couldn't get out. Until, in the middle of Bico, when Mom and I, it was right before the elections for 2014 for governor, right before I voted, right on that election, Mom and I were trying to get better with ourselves, and she was trying to tell me that I wasn't bad, and and I started to say it, and then started to think it, and with some things I believe it.
And I think that's awesome because we kind of helped each other, and we still do. And it's just such a growing process. Really tapping into my children and all their wonderful qualities and less so wonderful qualities, but we're all learning. So thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Not sure what'll be up next, but hopefully I'll get one up. Maybe Jack. Maybe later in the week. Bye-bye. Bye.